You're live.
What's up, guys? This is Kelsey Huffline and the crew here at Off the Bench. Of course, we got Richie Jones sitting over to my left over here.
Good evening.
And Pops on the other side of the camera over there.
Hey.
We're setting up for our midweek update, having just a fun time on this It's Fine Thursday here, and checking out what games we're going to see this weekend, how much the playoff implications are going to matter this week. We got play-out games that are going to happen this week, not necessarily the play-in that we all can't wait for. But, of course, Hugh Freeze has been fired. There's news circulating in the coaching carousel all across the country. Seems like Auburn hasn't figured out that there's one guy hiring the guy, not a bunch of boosters. It's just the AD.
Yeah,
he's the new sheriff in town.
The coaching carousel continues.
It is completely off the rocker with so many things happening in the world of college football. It seems like that is the most favorite thing to talk about is what's happening in the coaching carousel there. But we got a good week of football coming up. There's nothing even remotely bad about these games. LSU, Alabama, Indiana, Penn State, Georgia, Mississippi State, BYU, Texas Tech, Texas A&M and Mizzou, Oregon and Iowa, and then Navy and Notre Dame as well. If you want to go check out our Pick'ems page, you can get involved in that. Go hit up our Facebook at Off the Bench, and you can leave us a comment, tell us who you're picking this weekend, and get your vote in there. But as right now, I think I wanted to start this off with what's happening with Hugh Freeze.
All right. what's not happening with Hugh Freeze.
Hugh was fired, essentially.
I was only off by 2 weeks.
Only 2 weeks.
I said by lunch the following day, and they let him lose two more, beat Arkansas, and then lose one more game, and then it was before lunch.
Well, losing to Kentucky, and likely the worst team in the SEC right now is Kentucky with Stoops over there. What sucks for Kentucky is that was kind of what I've been calling it the
battle of the bottom.
I think it's the John Summerall Bowl. Whoever loses that game is going to hire John Summerall as their head coach.
It was definitely a play out game.
Yeah, 100%. Because there's some connections that I've seen this week that people have made for both, right? Bob Stoops, Mark Stoops over there.
I think they're going to keep him.
Well, Summerall, if they were to go after him this coaching cycle,
yeah.
Summerall played at Kentucky, linebacker at Kentucky once upon a time ago, okay? But then there's an Auburn connection for Summerall as well, and it's not as tight, but where did Summerall play high school football?
Would that be Opelika?
That'd be Grissom High School, Huntsville, Alabama.
I didn't know that.
Oh, man, Richie, he got you.
I did. I was not. Sorry, I'm a Butler kid. I don't keep up with Grissom. Sorry.
He played there. He's in the Madison County Hall of Fame, Athletics Hall of Fame.
That's pretty big.
Okay. He's got Alabama ties, not necessarily directly toward Auburn, but the possibility is there for him to make that connection. And if Auburn does what they want to do, find a guy that can connect with Alabama with their recruiting. And obviously Summerall is a guy that's going to get a top 15 job in the country at some point in time. He's coaching at Tulane. It's been a good group of 6 program for the past couple of years under his leadership. Summerall has it going. He's going to get a job soon enough. Will Auburn make him the next head coach?
That's a great question. Here's my concern with this Auburn head coaching position. I think our Auburn fans and friends and family out there are going to unfortunately realize where they really stand in the pecking order, most of which is not in the top of anything. I was actually talking with some guys at a restaurant a couple weeks ago when they were discussing whether they should fire Freeze. And at the time I said, well, right now Penn State, LSU, and Florida are open. That makes Auburn the blank job in the country. And they were all like, well, 4th. And I was like, I'll argue that it's 5th, because if Lane Kiffin takes the LSU job or the Florida job or whatever, is Ole Miss a better job today than Auburn is?
100%.
100%, yes.
There's no question about it.
The problem also you're going to run into, and I've heard some talking heads on the TV and the radio this past week discussing specifically with Lane Kiffin. Ole Miss is going to make the playoff at this point. I mean, they would have to just absolutely just not show up for 2 of the next. I've got them, the Citadel, Florida, and then the Egg Bowl. They would have to not show up for Florida and the Egg Bowl to not make the playoff. If that's the case, how far into the the year, how many more weeks is Lane Kiffin the head coach at Ole Miss, regardless of who offers him what kind of a check? Does that kill and close the transfer portal, which is what has made Lane Kiffin the great coach that he's been at Ole Miss, is his ability to go into the portal and pull out all these great players. So if you're LSU, how long do you wait to pull the trigger and go, here's 15 mil, we want you to come down here? Then that gives all these other people who think they're in the running for the Lane train to stop in their city. Now they've got to scramble around. So if you are Auburn, do you try to hold out for what you perceive to be the best coach, or do you go after a Summerall, a guy that you could offer $7 million to, and he's going to jump all over it?
I mean, that's a job that Summerall's likely been waiting for throughout his career, to find a school, especially in the Southeastern Conference, to go and coach and get that opportunity, especially with all the money flowing through the SEC right now. And here's the deal with Auburn. Okay, you have paid, Gus Malzahn $21 million to leave. You paid Harsin $15 million to leave, and now you paid Hugh Freeze $16 million to leave. Really, do you want to go out there and get another high dollar head coach, essentially, and come 2 years down the line, if they're not in the college football playoff, if they're not competing for it, throw them out the door?
I mean, you've got to realize as an Auburn, how great of a job are you really?
Yeah.
You're not even the best job in your state. You're definitely not even the best job within
the SEC.
I was going to say 150 miles of your campus.
Yeah.
You're third, maybe fourth within 150 miles.
Well, and you also got to worry about like the Florida recruiting, the Georgia recruiting, Alabama recruiting's, heavily favored toward Alabama. Georgia and Florida, same way, their own respective state schools over there. Okay. So they're in this situation, and then LSU down in Louisiana, they've got their recruiting figured out. Ole Miss has it down in Missouri, Mississippi State, or not Missouri, Mississippi State, getting it down in Mississippi. Ole Miss getting it down in Mississippi. So you're sandwiched between all these great schools that are doing amazing recruiting. Okay, you have to find your connection tie. Okay, if you go out there on the West Coast and grab, I don't know who's a good example. If you go out there and grab
Dan Lanning, who has came out and has said from the rooftop, I am not leaving Oregon.
Well, you go out there and grab a guy like Dan Lanning. Okay, Dan Lanning has roots in the South, so maybe that's not the best example.
Okay, yeah, valid point. Valid, yeah.
You go out there and find a West Coast coach. Okay, like you did with Harsin a couple of years ago. Okay, Harsin didn't have any ties to the South. Okay, so you go out there and grab a guy like that, expect him to recruit in today's climate where you can't even relate to the players. Same reason Kelly's out. He couldn't relate to the program. He wasn't in Louisiana. The money was there in his head, and he was actually in Florida on vacation during one of the most important recruiting weekends in the entire college football world, right? So, there's reasons why these guys fail. Okay. And I think if Auburn goes out there and tries to hire a high dollar West Coast coach, it won't be good because you can't relate to the players, and you're going to be in the same situation paying another guy $20 million to walk out that door so you can go hire another guy to do the same thing
3 years later.
3 years later.
The problem that I see with Auburn is they like to do what I refer to as the 6 effort. There's really, in my opinion, there's 2 things you can do. You can do a 9 or you can do a 3. If you put in a 3 effort and you get a 3 return, you got back what you wanted. If you put in a 9 effort and you get back a 9, you got what you wanted. The problem is these people that put in a 6 effort into something and are mad that they didn't get a 9 result, but they put in too much effort for the 3 that they actually got. So do you go out and get a guy $6-7 million, 4 or 5 years guaranteed, so the max you're paying 30-ish million, 40 million, call it, just for kicks and giggles. And you go out knowing, hey, we are Auburn. If we hit lightning in a bottle, maybe we have a great year. Maybe we go 10-2. Maybe we go to the playoffs. But we're really a 6-6, 7-5, 8-4 team. And you go out and get that kind of guy. Or do you go and drop big dollars again, 10, 12 million? So you're signing another $50 million contract to get a big name, which as of right now, who is that big name that's even considering Auburn as their next home?
So, hey, Kels, I got to play devil's advocate with you here with your reference to the West Coast and grabbing a coach. Let's look at Bama. Let's look at Kalen DeBoer.
Look, I mean, I get that, but we also got to remember, when I'm saying that, they went out on the West Coast and grabbed Harsin, right?
Yep.
Boise State, you're a group of 6 schools. Now, Boise has seen a lot of recent success, and they've had success in the past as well. Okay, but they're nowhere on the brink of Oregon has been this last century. Not Oregon, Washington. Washington during DeBoer, they had they were a great offensive.
Played the national championship.
Played the national championship. I can't say much for their defense because defense really you got to hire that way in the SEC.
Yes,
you got to go higher. That's how if you're a West Coast coach and you're just coaching offense and you're getting the offense going number 1, top 10 in the country, whatever like that. You go down to the South, you got to hire a defensive coordinator that knows the region and that can play football in the SEC. That's the reason you grab Ken Womack. DeBoer had that relationship with Womack when they were in Indiana, when he was the DC and DeBoer was the OC.
And there's also something to be said with the handoff between. It seems like at this point, Nick Saban handpicked DeBoer and said, "Hey, this is the guy. I'm going to hang around. I'm going to be up in my office overlooking my stadium, which it's
my field.
Yeah, at the stadium the other guy built. That I watered the grass of, and so that handoff, it was a little rough that first year, but we can now see that DeBoer is figuring out, all right, this is my scheme with. I said it was like a chef. And if I've got a 5-star restaurant and I'm the greatest chef in the world, and I leave you this Italian restaurant, and I've already bought all the groceries, I've taught all the sous chefs and everything, and I'm just going to hand it off to you, and here's my my menu, take it and run. You can be a great Italian restaurant.
Yep.
Now, if you try to change and become a steakhouse, you're gonna have some issues, because you weren't left a prime rib in the freezer, So that ought to be said. To go back to Auburn, I think they're going to have to go the $6-7 million range. They are not getting Kiffin. They are not getting Franklin.
I mean, there's other guys around the country that they can go after that make a lot of sense too. Brent Key over at Georgia Tech, he's Birmingham native. Okay, so the Brent Key is definitely on this board as well. I know Drinkwitz has been floating.
Okay, hold on. Let me. Are you really leaving Georgia Tech right now to go to Auburn? Georgia Tech is.
So again, we talk about this as Brent Key is at an ACC school. Okay, it's not that hard to win over there. You can win. Not as hard to win. Say that it's not as
Man,
hard
I know some ACC fans here, even local in Huntsville, Alabama, would argue with you on that one.
Hold on, let me rephrase it. It's harder to win in the SEC than it is in the ACC.
Correct.
Okay?
I agree.
That's a true fact. We've seen it.
Hard to win a championship. Yeah,
Exactly right.
Dabo, what's it say different?
Dabo's struggling.
Yeah.
So let's change the subject here real quick. Why haven't we heard Dabo's name here lately?
Because
the struggle that he's had
Dabo won't get
at
fired.
Clemson.
There is too much legacy with Dabo at Clemson. He won't be fired.
I mean, Dabo at LSU.
He's not going to Auburn.
Dabo at Auburn.
Okay, here's the argument you make with this, okay? Because people have said the same thing about Matt Campbell, right? When Matt Campbell was linked to the Penn State job, mostly because of, I think, Pate was pushing for it. Josh Pate was pushing for that move to happen. Okay, since then, they're 0-3. Since they fired James Franklin at Penn State, Iowa State is now 0-3 since that happened. Okay, so looking at it now, okay, are you a different coach from when you were the 3 weeks ago? So beginning, are you a different coach now than you were at the start of the season? How do you look at that when you're trying to hire a new head coach? Okay, you may like this guy. He may have had a good program in the past. He may still have a good program, but he's just had some bad luck recently. Okay, so you keep pushing and pushing towards that narrative of, are they the same coach, or are you paying attention to those last 3 weeks where he lost 3? Are you putting that against him when and going to make that hire?
Right. Well, I mean, Penn State took 3 weeks of losses and held it against a guy that's been there forever and won how many games at Penn State?
Right. You can use that to fire him.
Right.
But are we using that as an influx on, should we hire this guy?
And that goes back to talking about Auburn. As of right now, Auburn can hire the 4th best guy on the board.
Well, everybody is waiting for LSU to make their move. Who is the next head coach of LSU? Obviously, Virginia Tech and Franklin have kind of put that aside. It looks like
Yeah,
the deal's
that seems
gonna
I
like-
think it's a great
soon.
hire by
That's-
Virginia
yeah.
Tech.
And it's
Great
not
hire.
official yet, right? But
Yeah.
that's going to come
That,
soon.
and that does going back to what we talked about Saturday about a fit. I think Franklin he worked at Virginia Tech. He worked at Penn State for forever and a day. Virginia Tech seems like a shoe in for him. I mean, are you telling me would you want to schedule Virginia Tech the next 3 years with him at the helm?
No, I wouldn't. Honestly, I think you're
Yeah.
right. That's a fit made in heaven right there. I want to see how, James Franklin, and he's a really smart guy. You're right. He's been around the game. He's been in a top tier football program for years. I want to know how he's going to hire. Okay. Because that's what it comes down to. You go in there and you pull a Lincoln Riley mistake and hire the wrong coordinators, you're going to have you're going to put yourself behind 2 more years.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then once those 2 years you're going to get put on the hot seat the 3rd year.
Yeah.
You're not seeing success. So Franklin's going to go in there, but I'm with you. I think it's a great fit if that does happen. Takes put a lot of this into it. They're going to have to invest in NIL as well. I know this is a large deal. We're really going to see what bounds Tech is going to go to actually be a successful football program like they were under Frank Beamer. Okay. So I think, going towards the future, Tech is really putting them in a good spot for this. We come back to Auburn.
Well, you keep coming back to Auburn
because it's kind of a key and trickle to this board. LSU is going to get their coach, and then I think Florida is going to get their coach.
I think Auburn hires their coach before LSU and Florida. I think they go
If they go after fit.
I think they go for a guy that will not be in the playoffs, that is at a lower level, most likely a Southern-based school, like you said, like a Tulane, like a, that kind of atmosphere. What about the guy at Memphis? What about the guy at UAB? What about, why not go after,
Golish is out there at USF. It doesn't seem like Golish is the perfect fit.
No.
From what a lot of people think. I think he's more suited for Florida, somewhere like that. Okay. Another name that's a big question mark in this that's been floated to both Florida and Auburn, Glenn Schumann, the DC at Georgia.
Be a good fit.
It'd be
At Auburn. Yeah,
Auburn. It'd be fun.
You know who might go to Florida?
Well, it ain't McDaniel like I wanted.
The bus might show up.
I don't think so. I mean, he was at UCF, right? He went to Florida State for one reason only. Okay. He didn't want to deal with the NIL structure.
That is true. Yeah.
I don't know if we'll see that bounce back from Gus. And maybe we see that bounce back at Gus at Auburn. He loved Auburn. But
he may end up at if Tulane, the head coach at Tulane takes like the LSU job or something, he may end up at like a Tulane or something. But honestly, when I think it all comes down to, I think Auburn has to go outside of those top 3 or 4 names, hire somebody for $6-7 million and ride it out. Because what I was going to say, one of the things that a lot of people aren't talking about, that yes, this year has been crazy. Penn State fell off the absolute face of the earth and fired their coach. LSU has fallen off the face of the earth. Florida, we knew they were going into the toughest schedule in probably the history of college football. It looks like. I think they have the Bears this weekend, and I think they play the undefeated Dolphins from previous year. But when we do go to the 16-team playoff, and you don't make the playoff for 3 or 4 years in a row, this is going to become the norm, that big name college football coaches are going to be fired left and right if you don't make this. If you're not one of the top 16, or you're not even at least in the talk about it, you're gone.
All right. So hey, Kels, let's get us back on the rails here. I can't believe this Alabama-based talk show is sitting there talking about Auburn for exactly 20 minutes. Okay. So let's talk about a little bit about what we did this past weekend and send a shout out there.
Of course, guys, the Kick It for Dana charity kickball tournament was awesome. We had a phenomenal time there. We met with a bunch of people that hopefully we'll do some business with down the road as well. But just being there with Dana and seeing the kickball tournament take place, it was really fun. And we had a great time there, of course. And I think there was a ton of money raised for Dana. I never got that exact number.
I think the last number I heard was like 16,000 or something.
It was
I think they raised like 9 just in the power ups.
Yeah.
So it was a wonderful time. We had a lot of fun at the event. and we're really hoping to do more stuff like that in the
I think
future.
we
But
probably owe Mojo a shout out too.
dude, Mojo was with us as well. You
Yeah.
know, of course, he's doing Bikes or Bus coming up here in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
You know, so come meet him out there, and you know, we might be out there one of the days or a
Yeah, I
couple of
think
days at a time.
we'll end up joining them out there for Bikes for Bust.
Yeah, so it's
Saturday morning.
it's going to be a fun time there. And of course, we want to say a big thank you for Dana for letting us come out there and help her with that stuff as well. And,
Absolutely.
you know, hopefully this helps her out a lot. So it was a great time.
That was
a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. I didn't realize how busy of a man Mojo was, and everything. That dude is nonstop.
And
But
Yes,
how about
man.
that Hawaiian food, man?
that
Let's go to Hawaiian
chicken,
food.
dude, that chicken was fire.
Unfortunately, they were not an actual, like, they didn't have a brick and mortar restaurant.
Yeah,
They weren't
yeah.
actually a food truck. I think they just did events.
Yeah.
Or else we'd, you know, talk to them further.
Yeah.
But yeah, great Hawaiian food. I'd have to remember what their name is. I think I have their card somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll have to remember it and give them a shout out here.
Well, I just wanted to bring that up because I mean I know for the last month we've been talking about the Kicking with Dana event, and you know, and just talking about the direction of this show and how we want to do community events on the weekends and whatever comes up. So just you know, shout out to you two for keeping that going for the last month, and you know, shout out to Dana. So just wish her the best.
It's been a lot of fun. Okay, so before we move on from this Alabama Auburn topic that we've been kind of hitting on here,
You're going to go back to it, aren't you?
for one
No,
thing
right,
here,
yeah.
because I saw this statistic the other day and I thought it was crazy. So, with now the firing of Hugh Freeze and DJ Durkin acting as interim head coach, this will be the seventh year
Yeah.
that there has not been the same coaches consecutively coaching against each other. In 2019, we had Saban and Malzahn. In 2020, we had Sarkisian and Malzahn because Saban was COVID. Saban had COVID. Okay. 2021, Saban and Harsin. 2022, Saban and Cadillac. 2023, Saban and Freeze. 2024 was DeBoer and Freeze. And now 2025 will be DeBoer and Durkin.
Why don't they give Cadillac an actual shot?
I would like Cadillac to have an actual shot. You know, there was some lifeblood in that program. I remember talking to students at the time that were going to Auburn, and you know they rolled. They were rolling on Toomer's corner.
He can't be any worse than prime time.
Oh,
And the next person who says Auburn should hire Neon primetime Sanders as an Alabama alumni, for the love of God, please Auburn University hire Deion Sanders as your next head coach, because
he can't compete in the Big 12. What makes you think he can compete in the SEC? He is not consistently putting an outcome out there.
he had
did
two
a good
great
job on backing his sons.
When his sons were there, and he had Travis Hunter on the team as well, a Heisman winning two-way player, once in generational type player. Yes,
he still couldn't win.
He didn't win a conference championship that year.
He didn't make a bowl game.
Yeah,
the first year. I think he made one the second year.
But he still couldn't win a conference championship. So if you can't win a conference championship in the Big 12, what makes you think you can win a conference championship in the Southeastern Conference?
Once again, as an Alabama alumni, Auburn University, if anybody from Auburn University is listening to this podcast, please hire Deion Sanders. Thank you. I will donate to the GoFundMe to hire Deion Sanders.
Hey, speaking of listeners from far away, I can't believe we have Ray Flores, who I thought was on a cruise, is somehow listening to the Off the Bench YouTube live.
Internet out in the Caribbean, I guess.
That's awesome. Thanks for joining us, Ray.
That may be the furthest away fan we currently have.
I think it actually is. That would be the.
He's in international waters. I mean,
so be careful. Hey, let's go to let's go to the Heisman piece as we're looking at Ty there on the screen.
All right, so of course, you know, Ty Simpson took the bye week. He was at 1. I think he's dropped to 3rd now in the.
How do you drop on your bye week?
Well, you had Fernando Mendoza, and of course, you had Julian Sand play. Now, I've thought about this all week because I'm going to end up eating my words on this one. Who did I call at the beginning of the season to win the Heisman?
Was it the Vandy guy?
No, it was Julian Sand.
Oh, Julian.
I said Julian Sand would win the Heisman, and at the time, it was a hot take. I thought it would never happen. I didn't think Sand was actually going to explode like he has this year. And of course, with Ohio State and the talent around here, it's actually come to fruition. Julian Sand is leading the Heisman race up until this point, and as an Alabama fan, I'm going to eat my words on that one.
Yeah,
I did say it. Did not expect it to happen, and now we're in this situation of it's going to be a 3-man race down the line. For this
Can
Heisman
I play a little devil's advocate with Julian leading the Heisman? Is it because he's that great of a quarterback? When he's got great numbers, no question about it. But if you really look at what Ohio State does to team, and when you argue it's their defense that deserves the Heisman, I mean, and I would argue that you could probably put a above average quarterback at Ohio State and you'd be okay.
100% agree. I mean, Howard last year was an above average quarterback. He had played
Exactly.
at Kansas
And they
State
win a
the year
national
before that.
championship.
He had a good year there. He came into Ohio State because he thought he had the chance to win the national championship, and they did that. So obviously, yes, they need a game manager at Ohio State. That's what will win you stuff at Ohio State. Okay.
They've also played one of the, if not cupcakiest outside of
Schedules.
Texas. Everybody's going to say, "Oh, they played Texas
Well,
week one." That was
it's-
week one.
yeah.
Look, give me a break. Alabama lost to Florida State week one. Can we not talk about week one anymore? I saw a stat. I'm gonna mess this up. I believe the bottom third
Yeah,
of the
you're-
Big Ten
Yeah, they've got that bottom
was
third.
2-31 or
I don't
32
remember
or
the losses, but it was 2 wins.
the entire bottom third of the Big Ten has two. The number 10 team in the SEC right now is LSU. The number 10 team in the Big Ten was UCLA. LSU at UCLA would be a 10-point favorite this weekend.
And then you look at who else is playing the bottom tier of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Indiana is.
Indiana.
Yes.
So, but since we're going back to the Heisman, and those two guys are currently number 1 and number 2 in the Heisman, the odds, do they not split a lot of that Midwest vote? And Ty being the only guy from the SEC, really and truly, because you're going to also have Jeremiah Smith is right now tied for 6th, which is the wide receiver for Ohio State. Just goes to show you how good that team is. That 2 of their best players are. You got Jeremiah Love, the best running back in the country at Notre Dame. He's going to split some of that vote. Nobody's voting Gunnar Stockton as their number 1. Not even Georgia is voting him number 1 in the Heisman Trophy. So
they will over Ty Simpson.
Yeah, but just because of But I think you also got to look. Ty's got Oklahoma. You got LSU. That's going to be a huge game unless you have YouTube TV. Then Oklahoma. And then you got the Iron Bowl at the end of the season. So Alabama's got a much better opportunity to show off, Ty, than at Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers, and then Michigan.
Let's look at pure stats. So Ty Simpson, 2184 yards, 20 touchdowns, 1 interception. Julian Sand, 2188, 23 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
I mean, they're both phenomenal quarterbacks.
Yeah, they are. I mean, let's not say that, but
But
I'm
once-
with you, Richie, on Bama's got 4 top 25 wins.
Yes.
Okay.
With hopefully a 5th one.
Yep. When we play Oklahoma in the next 2 weeks.
But you got to look. They had the 40. I think it was 44. Ohio State or Indiana. I may be mixing this up. Was the 44th strength of schedule. Alabama was like 3rd.
Yeah.
So the argument and consensus is still going to continue to be of the strength of record, right? So you have Ohio State and Indiana sitting up at the top. Could you make the argument with the strength of schedule, passing the eye test, looking it through the committee's eyes, who is obviously we've seen what the committee seen is they're saying that Ohio State and Indiana are above A&M and Alabama.
Yeah.
But in terms of strength of record, basing that off it only, taking all the other measurements away, the eye test and whatever else you may have it with it, just off strength of record, who is the best team in the country?
I mean,
you're looking at combined opponent records. You're looking at strength of, really the strength of the record overall.
You've got to go Alabama then with that number.
Yeah.
If that's the only number you're talking about, it's Alabama. Because, I mean, like you said, 4 top 25 wins. We scheduled Florida State. That looked like a great idea 7 years ago when that contract was signed.
And I think there's another one that I think Michigan fans want to cancel now, or maybe it's Ohio State because of how. Maybe it was Ohio State. talking about the no, I don't know. Continue on through talking. I thought I had the stat in my head. I could not think of
No,
it.
you're good. I think when it's all, and let's be honest, when we're splitting hairs, I know the committee came out with this is what the top 12 or, well, they had to go all the way to like 27th to find Memphis somewhere hiding in the weeds somewhere, as they took all their hats off and left them at the door, which was a cute little fun thing that ESPN paid them to do. When it's all said and done, Ohio State and Indiana are going to play each other in the Big Ten championship. The winner is number 1 in the country. Texas A&M and Alabama look like they're on a crash course to play each other in Atlanta. The winner's number 2 in the country. We're talking about the difference of one team gets to pick what color uniform they wear when we get to Miami.
Well, and I think another thing too is we're going to see how much the committee is going to punish these conference championship losers.
I don't think they do hardly at all.
So if that were to be the case, because the top 4 would remain the same then.
Yes, it would just be, in theory, Ohio State 1, Alabama 2,
And
Indiana 3,
losers at 3 and 4.
at 3 and 4.
And then how that would be ranked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that happening. That may be a route you take. But another team I do want to talk about, because the committee has effectively killed their year this year. I think they're completely done. They're out of it. The committee pretty much gave them the axe, is Tennessee. Tennessee has given them the axe. They said, okay, you're done.
Yeah,
we've seen
thanks
what
for playing.
you've seen.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing. You're done. Now the fans.
Here's your hat. What's your
calling
hurry?
for Josh Heupel's name to be fired.
Oh, give me a break. Josh Heupel's one of the better coaches in all of football
and
right
it's
now.
like a $75 million buyout.
Yeah.
And Tennessee and Florida or LSU would immediately jump all over that.
Jump all over it.
That's the whole thing of you want to fire these coaches. Like Sark was saying this last week, okay? You want to fire all these coaches. There's quality out there, but there's not quantity out there.
Right.
Okay, there's only so many guys that are qualified to be a coach within the SEC, within the Big Ten, and all these other, in ACC and all this, right? Okay, and there's going to trickle down on what your level of coaching is, how this is going to go. What league do you need to be in, right? Tennessee, you fire your coach, you're the 3rd best team looking to hire, or 4th best team, likely.
3rd.
Okay, you're going LSU,
Florida, Tennessee.
No, Penn State, Tennessee.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was thinking just in the conference. You're the 3rd. You're the 3rd best in the conference.
And then Auburn's below them all. Tennessee's a better job than Auburn.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll continue to say that. Especially
Ole Miss is a better job than Auburn.
Ole Miss is a better job than Auburn, right? So you're looking in at the 4th best job in the country. So Tennessee, if you go and fire Heupel, good luck. You're not going to get a guy that's the quality.
Who's
of
better?
Josh Heupel.
Yeah.
You can
Who's
go
better
after
that you can
Golish.
hire today?
You want to go after Golish,
Yeah.
the former OC of Tennessee?
Yeah.
Well, that'd be a dumb move. Okay, who's the OC for? Heupel.
Yeah.
Bobby Hill over there. Okay. I don't get the thinking of Tennessee fans sitting there and saying, we're done with Heupel. We think a buyout's a good idea. Let's go get another guy.
All right. Can I give you a crazy?
Go with it.
I mean, since we got to talking about the playoff a little bit, is it possible the SEC gets 5 teams in?
Yeah, I mean, okay. So looking at the playoff right now, I just had to pull up. I'm gonna lose it now. Where did that go to? Okay, I had the playoff pulled up.
So
Don't
A&M,
know what to do.
Bama,
Okay, here it is.
Georgia.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said 5.
You said you want
I
6.
6.
So,
is it
okay.
possible that the
Mississippi,
SEC gets
Ole
6
Miss.
teams
Well,
in?
right here, okay, we have Ohio State at 1, Indiana at 2, Texas A&M at 3, Alabama at 4. So there's 2 teams. 5 would be Georgia. 6 would be Ole Miss. There's 4 for you. Okay, BYU, Texas Tech, Oregon, Notre Dame. That would be
Then it goes-
Texas,
It goes
Oklahoma.
Virginia and then Memphis is your 11-12 seed
Because you would have to rank them.
because they would win the ACC. Virginia is
Virginia
currently
would get it.
yeah.
So
and
you're
then-
kicking Oklahoma out.
correct. You're
Okay, and
Texas
then
and
you gotta-
Oklahoma. Are, yeah.
Texas and Oklahoma are out. So there's 4.
Okay, so hear me out. BYU and Texas Tech play each other Saturday.
Yes.
It's going to be should be a phenomenal
It's
game.
the only top 10 game of the week.
And they're 7 versus 8.
Yeah.
Oregon plays at number 20 Iowa, home for Minnesota, home for number 19 USC, at number 23 Washington. The odds of Oregon.
Is this the best the Big Ten can offer us? Keep going.
Yes, that is the best the Big Ten can offer. There's no chance they win all 4 of those games, in my opinion. My humble opinion.
We've
I have
seen
yeah.
how the floor of Oregon this year. I think we saw the floor of Oregon against Indiana.
And I think the committee said, y'all got 1 loss and you're 9th. Notre Dame plays Navy at Pitt, number 24 Pitt, Syracuse at Stanford.
Navy 7-1.
Let's break the hearts of Navy here.
Yeah,
They
that's-
won't
yeah.
compete with
Yeah.
Notre Dame.
I
I'm
know.
sorry.
Yeah.
As much as we want to vote for the triple option,
Yeah, I love watching it.
as much as we want to see it in a playoff style,
Yeah.
the triple option.
Any
being
of the
reformed,
running.
God, that would
I
be
love the triple option. It's more like Army. It wasn't an Army.
yeah.
Remember
Army.
the
Well,
triple
Navy was
option?
for a while, but Army was
did-
always the.
Army did it. I think Navy still does it. They're not.
I
No,
thought-
they're actually a big. They're actually
I
a
thought
little
it was
more
like a
balanced
spread
this
West
year.
Coast deal. Yeah.
So
It's hard to do because the offensive linemen and their weight and the weight standards they have to keep up for the Navy.
Yes,
Right? So
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
all right.
All right.
Texas has at number 5 Georgia, home for Arkansas, home for number 3 Texas A&M. They only need to win 2 of those games, and they are in the playoff. I'm telling you, 9-3 Texas with a loss to number 1 Ohio State,
And they're at
a
11.
loss to Florida. Oh hum, that sucked, and then either a win at number 5 or a loss at number 5, and a win at number 3 or a loss at number 3. They split those 2 games.
And they still get in.
They are in.
Yeah.
Oklahoma goes at number 4 Bama, home for 22 Missouri, home for LSU. Oklahoma runs the table. They're in. And I'm going to tell you why they're in. They beat Michigan.
Mhm.
So Michigan never, no matter what Michigan does, even if they go into the horseshoe and beat Ohio State like a rented mule, they can never jump the team they lost to, Oklahoma.
Can Michigan play in the Big Ten championship? That's how they
I
get in.
think there's some weird
Don't
backup, but
No, that always gets weird towards the end of the season, especially the Big Ten championship.
I
It's
think
even weirder now with more teams.
I think technically yes. If they run the table and then beat Ohio State, technically I think they would, because then they would play Indiana, which would just throw a monkey in the entire organization here that
Yeah.
I've got going on in my head. But I think BYU and Texas Tech, one of those teams is going to win both those games. I think it's going to be Texas Tech. I think they win Saturday, not to give my pick away too early. But I think they also win the Big Ten championship, and they're in. BYU, thanks for playing. Go back home to the Mormons and have a blessed day. I think Oregon loses one of these games and they're out. That gives a lot of room for Texas and Oklahoma to.
So to answer your question, Pops, Indiana or Ohio State do have to lose one game for Michigan to jump. They're 5-1 in the Big Ten. Michigan is.
Yeah.
Okay, so either
Yeah.
Indiana or Oregon have to drop a game. Okay, even then, has Michigan played Indiana? How would the tiebreaker work?
Michigan would play Ohio State at the end. That would give Ohio State a loss. That would give Michigan the tiebreaker over them. They would be in.
Okay, so Michigan has to beat Ohio State to get in the championship
They have to go undefeated the rest of the season
and beat Ohio State in
for the
championship.
5th year in a row. Break the hearts of the Buckeyes.
All right.
Basically, yes.
My job is to bring you guys back on the rails.
Okay.
We've got
Yes.
23 more minutes in this show. Let's talk about what's going to happen in Tuscaloosa this weekend.
Alabama LSU. This is going to be a drastic night game that's going to have a lot of effect on really just Alabama. It looks like LSU season is effectively over. You have who's the interim head coach there? It's Wilson. I think
That's the first game that
First
LSU
game
has
that
played with
Yeah.
the new coach.
going to have under.
They're
under
gonna
the new
throw-
coach, right.
The entire, and not just the sink. They're going to throw. If you can come up with a trick play, they're going to throw it.
Yes.
I mean, that's what I was going to say. What does LSU have to lose? They don't.
They don't. I mean, everybody's. It's a. Last I heard, I think it was 9.5 or 10.5. For the homeboys, so nobody is really giving LSU much of a chance to go in there. Why not just come out there, onside kick the opening kickoff, and try everything you can, because you're now coaching for maybe not the next head coach of LSU, but you're trying to get your name out there that one of these, the trickle down effect.
So Frank Wilson is the interim head coach for LSU now. Okay, so without Brian Kelly there, there's just so much inconsistency at LSU right now that a lot of people are favoring Alabama.
Didn't
in
they
this
fire
game.
their offensive coordinator as well?
Yes, they did. Yes.
And their AD became the not interim
Governor?
AD, but he's the acting AD that is doing AD work, but not guaranteed to continue being the AD according
And
to the
picking
president.
coach, and
Correct.
The governor is the new AD of Louisiana State. No, I'm just joking.
He kind of
He kind of is running it that way, in a way.
they got mad at him because he made the comment that the taxpayers have to pay the buyout, and then they had to have somebody from the university go, at no point in time in the history of history has a taxpayer ever paid a dime towards the buyout of a head coach. And they were like, yeah, my bad.
So every week for the last few weeks, we've talked about Alabama's running game. Is this the week that Jam Miller gets it on?
Has to be.
I
If it's not,
make that point here, okay? Because we've seen, they've tried every day this week. Or excuse me, every game day this last couple of weeks, right? They've tried to get Jam Miller going. They've tried to get Jam Miller and Party going. They haven't got it done yet. Okay, the difference between Alabama and LSU's offenses is pretty key here, because when LSU can't run the ball, they freak out and they break down. When Alabama can't run the ball, they lean on Ty Simpson and they're successful. Okay, it's what happened the past couple of weeks with both teams, right? Alabama can't run it, throw it with Ty. We've leaned on him enough. He's done great. Heisman race. This is a national championship caliber quarterback. Over at LSU, they thought Nussmeier was that, but if they can't run the ball over there, Durham over there, if Durham can't run the ball, Nussmeier can't pass. The running and setting up the pass over there, so there's issues, right? It looks like Whit Weeks is going to be out on the defensive side. Sorry, Lane Kiffin's daughter's boyfriend. He's out.
He's out?
Yes, he's out. He's maybe he was questionable. But it doesn't look like he's going to play for that, though. Bama's got to prevent some chunk plays the whole ball game. LSU's going to try to hit this explosive play, and that's when Alabama's going to try to squeeze and try to break down that pocket. Of course, that's how we're going to try to prevent LSU from hitting these deep places. They're going to put pressure on Nussmeier and get it down. This might be the best game of the weekend, I think.
Okay.
Alabama LSU is always such a good game, man.
Here, I will play devil's advocate because I can, because that's what I get paid to do.
We don't pay you.
Oh, well, then
you get paid purely on views and likes and stuff like that.
Yeah. So please hit the like. Yes. Please hit the like and subscribe button.
If he doesn't get that, he doesn't get food tonight.
With this game, if Alabama can weather the early storm, I think LSU is going to come out there. Like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if they don't onside, win the toss, decide to kick, and
nothing to lose.
They got nothing to lose. If Alabama can weather that early storm and come out there and get a little bit of a run going, maybe even get up, 14-3, 21-7, that kind of thing. I think you're going to see a lot of these LSU guys are now going to start. These kids are because they're still kids. I hate to say it that way, but you're going to have these LSU kids that are going to go, hey, I'm now playing for business and I'm not getting hurt for a team that no longer cares, against a team who's trying to win a national championship. And to go back to are we going to run the ball or not? It goes back to, does DeBoer want to run the ball or does DeBoer want to win the Heisman?
I don't think he wants either. He wants to win ball games and win national championships.
He's hungry for that first national championship. He has not won a national championship. He lost it, so he's still hungry for that. One of the reasons I like DeBoer is going to stay hungry for that. Hitting us up on the socials, of course, Ray on YouTube, burrito payments.
Yes, he does pay me in burritos.
Yes, you do get burrito payments.
Gets paid in burritos.
What I'm wondering now is you're in the Caribbean. Where are our burritos at on Saturday?
Yeah, no kidding. And
I was looking forward
We've been plugging these burritos now for the last
jerk chicken burritos now?
Jerk chicken. Could be possibly. I don't know how he's going to get them to us from the Caribbean, but now we're not going to have it on Saturday. So we're going to be hungry on Saturday morning. It means we get hangry on the show, which means we're all going to be mad at each other at the end of the day.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's not always a good settlement here.
Maybe we should have like some hot dogs or something. I don't know.
Could be. John Paul hitting us up on YouTube as well. Ty Simpson will fumble, but the refs will make sure wins line they did last week. Alabama wins line they did. Okay,
like they did last week.
Okay, I that messed up my head. All right, show me receipts, John Paul. You always want to talk about Alabama is going to get paid off. You're going to pay off the refs and stuff like that. And I want to see the receipts.
I got another correction on John Paul. Earlier in the show, he made a comment around, Ty Simpson's fumbled the ball like 3 times. I mean, like 20 times.
Yeah.
He has fumbled the ball 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's 4 total turnovers.
Auburn fan over here, hating on Alabama, but I want to see the receipts.
Listen to all this love we've given for Auburn this evening. We've spent like half the show talking about Auburn.
We never talk about
Auburn. Are we going to talk about their game this weekend? Probably not.
Well,
do they play anybody?
Vanderbilt this weekend.
What's their basketball team doing?
With baby Pearl over there.
Didn't they lose like one of their opening games or something like that? Baby Pearl.
Their basketball team.
I got to bring up one thing on this show. You know what I'm going to bring up?
You're going to
Speaking
go
of
to the Colin
basketball,
Chandler dunk.
that Chandler dunk from Kentucky this week, if you did not see it,
I did
it's the
not.
dunk of the year, and it's a white boy pulling a straight up windmill back, dunking over a 6'10" guy.
Yeah.
And granted, it was Nickel State, but dude, Chandler pulled off the dunk of the year.
White boy can
And
jump over here.
it's all over YouTube right now, and all these people are like, "Who's this white boy from Kentucky?" And and what's crazy is a transfer from BYU that's been on mission trips the last he played last year
I
at
think
Kentucky.
he's a 22-year-old sophomore.
Yeah, he's a 22-year-old
They
sophomore.
do like 5-year mission trips
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like
But-
Uganda or
Yes.
something.
Richie, when you go to bed at night, look up that Kentucky Slam by Chandler, and it is the dunk of the year in college basketball.
So I do have a question here, though, because now I'm thinking about this. We're going a little bit into basketball. AJ Diabasa, the number one recruit in the class last year in basketball.
Yep.
He's at BYU. Do you not have to go on the mission trips anymore? Because he's
I
playing
think if you're
basketball.
I think if you're a Mormon, you have to, but you don't have to be a Mormon to go to BYU.
Okay. It's different. Okay.
Now they do have to sign a if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I know there's
It's
certain things they
been a
can-
minute since I researched
Yeah.
BYU University. Oh, which I think the U stands for universities. So
Last time I checked, they get a top 10 football team.
yeah.
Brigham Young.
Yeah. He found some
Playing-
scrolls
playing
somewhere.
Texas
It's fine.
Tech, right? This weekend.
And if you ask Ray Flores, they like to throw tortilla shells. But
That's Texas Tech.
they have a code of conduct that they have to sign that is pretty strict.
Well, I know you can't drink on campus. It's a lot of the same rules as Liberty University, although
Yeah.
Mormon, very hardcore Christian
yes,
over there. Liberty.
All right. I sidetracked us with BYU.
You completely
and
sidetracked
Chandler.
this.
not the
Alright,
first time BYU sidetracked somebody.
Not at all. Of course,
Right.
Mississippi State, the Bulldog Bowl, Mississippi State and Georgia playing this weekend as well. I'm mixed with this game. I like Levy. I think Levy can pull it off. He's tried to go deep into games this season, and he's been successful at it and breaks down at the end. I keep saying the same thing about Georgia. This is not the same Georgia team that we saw a couple of years ago, but they're still playing good football. They got a healthy offensive line. This is only the second week in a row they can actually say that this year. State has a good situation going on, but if Levy cannot get to the next level, State fans are going to get frustrated, and it's going to push Levy out the door.
Yes and no. They won 2 games last year. They're on the brink of possibly winning going to a bowl game this year. Possibly they got to pull off a pretty big upset at some point in time at the end of the year. To me, what is vastly interesting when we talk about the Big Ten versus the SEC, Alabama plays LSU at home Saturday. They're a 9.5-point favorite. Georgia plays Mississippi State. They are a 9.5-point favorite.
I think it's a total trap game for Georgia. It's 11 a.m. kickoff.
At
At
Starkville. They are going to be
Total trap game.
I almost said Davis Wade Stadium. Yeah, it is Davis Wade
Yeah,
Stadium.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Starkville,
yeah.
All those dang cowbells are
Are
going to
gonna
be
be-
chiming.
Cowboys chime in. Look, the biggest thing for State in this game is I want to see them not stall in the red zone. I've seen that too many times from State this year. They don't stall in the red zone. They can get they can continue putting up points, obviously, and they can try to almost cancel out what Georgia is going to do on offense. It's
Can
gonna
we
be a
also
shootout
remember?
if they can compete?
If they play all 60, Mississippi State can very well win this game, but they
Yes.
have to play all 60.
Yes,
But let's think about a couple of weeks ago. What happened with Mississippi State and Texas?
obviously.
Y'all remember that game?
They didn't play all 60.
Yeah, they didn't
But-
play all
They
60.
got 60.
They
Georgia's a better team
gave
than
up
Texas.
22 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Georgia's a better team than Texas, but did they have the caliber for that? What are you? What you're like?
Wait a
Oh,
minute.
man, I thought Richie was coming
Like,
across the
no,
table
they're
on that one.
not.
First of all, Mississippi State goes up big at the beginning of this game,
Yeah,
and if they can hold off Georgia,
which
is-
I don't think they can do. I think it has to be a shootout for State to win.
well, what I'm saying is Georgia's not going to get off the bus until the second quarter,
Yeah.
maybe halftime. So Mississippi State has got to get out to a lead. If it is even remotely close at halftime, Georgia's just going to run away with this game in the fourth quarter. All the cowbells are going to clang at the end of the third quarter, and they're going to start drinking early.
Yes, essentially. I mean, you got to start if you can get the stadium loud in the second half and really sink your teeth into the side of the bulldog neck.
Yes.
Right, theoretically, you're bulldog on bulldog action there. You gotta the I don't know how to classify which bulldog is which. The state bulldog,
Yeah.
we'll say the state bulldog,
Bully.
bulldog. Yeah, He's got to beat up Uga way and sink those teeth in the side of his neck. Inside of his neck. Peter, do not come after. Is it Peter?
Yes, it's Peter. Yeah.
Peter, don't come after me. This is theoretical thinking here. If he can do that and start playing cowbells,
yes,
halfway through and just sink your teeth in, you can get this game. I'm with you, but I think there's going to be a tough fight from Georgia on the offensive side. I don't think the state defense can stop them. They have to score more points. It's the only way to win this game. Okay, if this was in Athens, I don't think State has a shot.
Right.
In Starkville, I think they got a huge shot to knock off this Georgia team.
Mississippi State always has a shot in Starkville, and they typically every season they beat one team that they're not supposed to, and they have yet to really do that. They let the Florida game get away with a terrible interception. Why he does not kneel the ball there and kick the field goal? No. Anywho, they let Texas just show up. Superman flew in for the last half of the fourth quarter of that game, and they let that one go. Does Mississippi State get their big win at Starkville against Georgia on Saturday, or are they holding out for that gold trophy at the end of the season in hopes to try to ruin Ole Miss's season?
All right, we got 10 minutes left before we get out of here. Let's talk about Auburn Vanderbilt, because we said we're going to talk about Auburn on Saturday.
We're going to talk about Auburn?
We're going to talk Auburn beginning and end of the game?
I don't even have a graphic for Auburn.
They're on pick'ems this week.
There's like 9 other games I'd rather talk about.
Okay,
I'd rather talk about
A&M in Missouri.
I'd rather talk about the Lakers versus the Spurs last night.
Man, getting hit up all over the place here. Okay, beating up on me. All right, then we'll go. All right, we can talk about
that's fine.
Texas A&M, Missouri. You don't want to talk Auburn football. I guess we've talked all.
We've spent 20 minutes talking Auburn football earlier.
I guess we're gonna make up.
And we had good things to say about them.
Did we?
They were looking for a good coach.
Oh, that's what we. Yeah.
That's
that's
not about Auburn. You're just saying that they're looking for.
They were looking for a good coach. I like some of their players.
Are you
I'd love to see
Summerall, or are you complimenting Auburn?
I'd love to see Singleton come to Bama. That would be a great thing for Auburn fans.
Singleton,
Yeah.
And let's be honest, Vandy is going to put a hurting on them. It's going to be ugly.
Okay, DJ Durkin on the offensive helm now, the head coaching helm interim right now. Good connection. I think he can actually spark something. The issue that I actually see with Auburn is they haven't had a quarterback since Gus Malzahn was there. Harsin didn't have a quarterback. Neither has Hugh Freeze. He's had Peyton Thorne. He's had Walker White. Now he's had Ashton Daniels did play last week, and he's had Jackson Arnold. Okay, Deuce Knight never played, the 5-star quarterback from last year. Okay, you had 5 head coaches.
How quick does he hit the portal?
Very quick, I think, without Hugh Freeze. You've had 5 quarterbacks play at Auburn under Hugh Freeze. None of them got it done. Okay, DJ Durkin. If you find something in Ashton Daniels that works within your offense, there you go, because that's your key to winning. You have a generational defense that's being wasted right now because you don't have a darn quarterback.
Right. Who's had more quarterbacks, the Browns or Auburn?
That's a tough one.
Oh,
I've had a lot.
The Browns have had this.
Hey, I got something great to say about Auburn.
What?
Bo Nix.
Is an Oregon graduate.
Well, he was a coach. He was a player at Auburn, and he's doing really good at Denver right now.
Is an Oregon graduate. Where did Joe Burrow go to school?
That would be LSU.
That would be LSU.
I'm just saying. I'm saying Bo Nix once played at Auburn.
I'm gonna eat my words.
Now he's doing good at Denver. And even John Paul on socials right now, Auburn sucks. He finally agrees with us.
He does.
Next thing you know, he's going to be wearing a Bama hat and,
Bama jersey,
Bama jersey.
All 9 yards here, right?
All right. Okay. So back on track. You do have 2 other really good football games this weekend, Kels.
You do. You have BYU and Texas Tech, Texas A&M, Missouri. Okay. You also have Oregon and Iowa.
Is this the only opportunity that? Let me throw this question out there. Does Texas A&M actually get challenged in this game? Missouri's at home, right? A&M's on the road. Does A&M finally play in a top-tier SEC school?
Elko's got an amazing thing going on at Texas A&M. I think there's no doubt about that. I think Elko's there to stay for a while, barring Penn State getting involved. So I think in this game, playing at home for Missouri gives me a lot of edge to wanting Missouri to win this game with Ahmad Hardy back there and their running back core with how much they average yards per carry out there. I think it could be a very good game for Missouri. I just don't know if they can work on this Texas A&M defense like that.
I think Texas A&M's figured out something, and they, we talk about trap games and we talk about letdown games and we talk about this and we talk about that. I think Texas A&M has finally figured out, go win the ball game, get a W, shut up, shut your mouth. When's the last time we didn't hear Texas A&M running their mouth about anything?
Honestly, I haven't heard Texas A&M run their mouth.
That's what I'm saying. This year,
Yeah,
previous to this year, you had the Johnny Manziels. You've always had somebody at Texas A&M wanted to run their mouth, and it seems like this year Texas A&M is like, we are perfectly happy being third. As a matter of fact, y'all keep talking about Bama being fourth and whether or not they should be ranked higher. We are perfectly fine being real quiet.
Well, and I think that holds a lot of to the kind of standard and program that Elko is building over there, the culture that he has over there, what he's doing within Texas A&M and how that's fitting. Okay, we thought, it was a very poor culture under Jimbo Fisher. A lot of money promised to people that never got paid out, which presented a very poor culture that was built over there. I think Elko's got this thing down. The culture there looks amazing. It looks like the fans are staying through the whole ball game.
It's a fit.
There's not a lot of trash talking on the field. I haven't seen much from that. We've seen discipline from Texas A&M throughout the year. I think we talked about perfect coaching fits. Texas A&M has theirs.
Yes.
Okay, and unless Penn State tries to draw him away, he's there for the long run, and they have a very good future ahead of them.
The only thing I could see Texas A&M running into is the big game. Making it, they've never played in Atlanta as so far as being in the SEC, and then to actually make the playoffs, could they hold off a Texas Tech or a Notre Dame or something like that, a team who's Texas Tech is terrible, but beating a team that's been there before, you're going to have some crazy teams in this playoff with Indiana, with Texas A&M, making a splash.
I think you will too. And I also want to point out and remember, as we're going through this coach carousel and looking for people, remember where Elko was at before he was at Texas A&M. He was a Duke. He was a lower ranked, he was still Power 5, okay? But he was lower ranked. They went and found a guy that was a perfect fit in their culture. They grabbed him, and it has turned phenomenal. Now, granted, he would have been at a DC. He was a DC at Texas A&M before, okay? He had competed with Jimbo. I think he actually beat Jimbo, did he not? Did he beat Jimbo Fisher?
Yeah,
I think. I think there was a game where Elko did beat Jimbo Fisher, when Duke and Texas A&M played. But
that's the thing, Duke is typically considered at best a lower tier team.
It's a lower tier ACC
football team. And so when you got a guy that came in there and they were winning ball games and people were talking about Duke football better, similar to the situation we got at Vanderbilt right now, which I'm putting more on the quarterback than the coach, but that's a whole nother ball game. Then yes, you could look at that guy and go, cool, that's who I want to bring in. You were talking earlier about bringing somebody from Boise State. It seems to be almost impossible to take these Boise State, these North Dakota State, South Dakota State coaches and bring them anywhere else and them have success. It just seems it's crazy how great they are in those conferences and in those divisions, and then
it's different football. They don't play defense out west. They don't do a lot of things. These Big Ten schools these Pac-12 schools that went into the Big Ten, those were probably the guys that could play defense. They can play defense. Or UCLA, guys that have fired their coach since. Right. So those were the schools that had that extra ability. So if they actually hired a correct defensive coordinator for your school, they have that ability to play defense. Okay. But these guys that are not doing that over in the West Coast, right? Of course, Arizona State down to the Big 12, they've kind of fixed that issue. Okay. There's not a lot of teams out in the pack anymore today. Oregon State,
Washington State.
Those were the teams that couldn't play defense. They didn't have that extra gear.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is different football in the South. It's relationships you build, coordinators you have to correctly hire, or things can go very bad. Okay. At these top tier programs within the SEC, within the Big 12, the Big 10, if you do not hire the right way, you will be out the door. Because you can't, you're the head coach, obviously. But if you do not hit on emphasis in other parts all around this program, if one thing goes haywire, you're done.
Absolutely.
It's a goodbye.
Yep.
So that is so hard. You can't just, if you're in a group of 6 school, there's things you can get away with. If you're a good coach, if you have the ability to bring in a good amount of talent, some quality talent, you can win. Okay. Having the coordinators is not always important down there, but up here it is always bigger.
Absolutely.
All right, Kels, Richie, let's close it out, and we'll see everybody on Saturday morning.
Yeah, definitely. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe and like button. Turn the bell on so when we go live Saturday to talk more coaching, carousel, and crap about Auburn, you can join us live every Saturday morning. And then of course, Kelsey, tell them about the radio.
7:30 a.m. 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. Here in the North Alabama area, you can hear us throughout North Alabama. I think it's Southern Tennessee as well. But if you're not locally from here, hit us up on, of course, iHeartRadio, 7:30 a.m. Jocks Huntsville on there, or rejoin us here, Off the Bench CFB show on YouTube. You want to keep up with us on Facebook, you can do so as well at Off the Bench. Get in our Pick'ems contest. It's all posted there on our Facebook page. Leave a comment on there, and you're going to be entered into the contest, of course, like we do every week. This has been Off the Bench. We'll be back with you guys Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. here in the Angel Share Garage Bar. We will see you guys then.